Forsling on it. Takes the hit from Beaky. Zaka to Witherspoon. In tight scores. Mason Lohrei. What a shot. Over the shoulder for Pavelski. Under the bar. In and out of the net. And the Bruins take the lead.
Tipping on Bobos. Wrapped in Bobos. Tipping on Bobos. Wrapped in Bobos.
Alrighty, folks. Welcome back to another episode, baby, of Live in 5. Episode number 41. Across your chin. Folks, sitting across from me, as always, the captain, Gage, Auzzo, Ausmus, freshly back from the jaw of Sin City over there in Vegas. We'll get into that in a bit, but as we always do, we plug our YouTube page. Please, folks, go over to @Live in 5 2024. Go like that, subscribe to that. Please go like all the videos. If you watch them, comment on them. That's how we get into the YouTube algorithm in terms of getting more views, getting more eyes on the prize and these two ugly mugs over here. So please go over to our YouTube page, like that, subscribe to our YouTube page. Again, as always, we always say over here, it's better to watch those videos, especially the interviews with our guest. You get a little bit more context. You get to put a face to a name, a chin to a name. So go over to our YouTube page @Live in 5 2024. Go like that, subscribe. Again, all of our short videos are on there, as our interviews. So all the shorts you see on all of our pages in terms of socials, you got the short clips on there. So go like that, please. And then brought to you by, as always, Mini Movers. Folks, Mini Movers is the official moving company of Live in 5. If you need anything packed, you need your shit packed, you need it sent somewhere, give Mini Movers a call today or go visit minimovers.com and get a free quote. Talk to the captain. Send him a DM. He's moving people all across the U.S. So if you're in Minnesota, maybe you're moving out of state, I believe the boys at Mini Movers will get that job done for you. Hey, maybe you're moving back from somewhere like Florida. Maybe you're coming back to the chin of the Midwest and you want a reliable moving company. Please look up the captain, Gage Ausmus. Go over to his socials. Go over to Mini Movers on Twitter or Instagram or their website, minimovers.com, and get a free quote today because those guys will take care of you like good Samaritans they are. Lastly, folks, brought to you by Butter Golf. Butter Golf is the official merchandise company of Live in 5. Lifestyle stuff, golf stuff. Go check it out. A lot of the National Leaguers are wearing it. I got a hat on right now. It's a cryptic bee. It's juicy. It's patty maroon in terms of colors. So go check out butter.golf. We're on our socials as well @butter.golf on Instagram. So go check that out. And our newest sponsorship that we've dialed in the last 2 weeks is Factor Therapeutics. I'm going to read the ad read again here, folks, for you. Are you tired of dealing with chronic aches and pains or neurological conditions? Gladiator Therapeutics offers a revolutionary solution using quantum physics to improve your health. Our devices use patented technology to emit far infrared light, stimulating cellular processes without heat. This can reduce inflammation, speed up healing, and enhance mobility. Clinical trials show impressive results, including a 400% increase in survivability in stem cells, accelerated wound healing up to 68% faster, and significant improvements in Parkinson's disease models. Wearable 24/7 without power, our devices can be a game changer. Visit www.gladiatortherapeutics.com/contact-DRGM to learn more and start your journey to better health. Dr. George Auzzo, talked to him last week and even a little bit this week. We have a couple good guests coming on, so we had to pigeon toss him in terms of getting Dr. George on and talking about Gladiator Therapeutics. But he is going to come on in the next couple of weeks, chop it up, and give the listeners exactly what this device does and how much it can help you. So Dr. George is a good man. He's got a good chin. He's a Canadian fellow, was a goalie back in the day, so has a bunch of clinics in terms of around the U.S. He's got a couple in Chicago, one outside of Milwaukee, and 2 in Florida, I believe now. So he's going to come chop it up. He is a dear friend of the show. Auzzo, before we get to Mason Lohrei today of the Boston Bruins, young fella in his first full campaign of pro hockey, spent 41 games up top, including 11 of the 13 playoff games with the Boston Bruins. A very good piece moving forward for them. The 6'4" sophomore out of Ohio State left after 2 years, turned pro. and then spent this year a little bit in Providence as well as Boston. I nicknamed him before the show. I said, fella, I mean, fuck, you're pale as a goddamn ghost. You're almost more pale than my cousin. So I gave him the nickname Big Cream. So we're going to be sticking with that. I think it fits well for him. So Big Cream came on, stopped by. I texted his former teammate Derek Forbert. Forby, we'll see where he ends up. But I told him, hey, if you're back with Boston, I got a new nickname for the young fella. It's Big Cream because you can see right through that kid. So, but a great chat with Mace. He's a good dude. Wisconsin product. Auzzo, pre-show, as always, weekend recap. I know we mentioned it a little bit earlier, but you were in Vegas this weekend, down in Nevada, for Johnny Simonson's bachelor party. First off, it's good to see you're back in one piece. I don't know how the coconut's doing in terms of the brain. We are here sitting on a Tuesday, so you might still be half stung, but how we doing, my friend? It's good to always talk to you. How you feeling?
Yeah, I felt better. Let's just say that. We'll start there. But, yeah, I mean, Vegas nowadays, 29 years old. When you get there on a Thursday and you start drinking early in the morning and you don't really stop until Saturday night, it's I probably won't feel full tilt till about Thursday this week. So as you can tell, I lost my voice a little bit, sang a little bit too much at the Friday concert we went to. But no, I mean, obviously, you're on that bird going to Vegas. It's the best bird ever. You're like, let's go. You get to the airport. You're like, fuck, this place is unbelievable. And then when you get there on Sunday, you're like, holy shit. I wouldn't give a fuck if they dropped a bomb on this place right now and my career ended.
Oh my God. It is so brutal. Oh, so dust off, break out the fucking Pepto, and where's a goddamn IV bag when I need it? And can someone get me a Percocet? Rule number one of the locker room, like in Goon, don't touch my fucking Percocets, and you have any fucking Percocets. That's the rule leaving McCarran International out of Vegas, because oh my God, is your tail in between your legs and you're looking at those slot machines too that they have in the airport, and you're just like, get me the fuck out of here. You see these degenerates playing on their way back home. It's like, buddy, haven't you had a fuck enough, and haven't you lost enough money? What are you doing, you freak?
Oh yeah, I hate those things when I'm going home. I'm like, why are those things in here? Get them out of here.
Oh man, what is he doing over there? I never know what he's doing. It's like, come on, guy. How are you having a screwdriver right now when you're loading your Allegiant bird and you're going back to fucking Cheyenne, Wyoming? It's like, come on, man. Like you haven't had enough. Like, Jesus, you hate your wife that much. But how was it though, my friend? Did you get a little time on the felt? Obviously, the whole Vegas scene is, we know it as it is, but did you get to play a little blackjack or anything like that, or is it strictly just the wet deck and bopping in and out of Hakkasan, Omnia, and kind of Marquee? What were you doing?
It was pretty much just that. I actually brought quite a bit of cash with me to gamble with, and I didn't fucking touch really any of it. The only game we actually gambled at was so funny. It was fucking War. So they just hand out one card, and then the dealer flips their card, and it's just either higher or lower than yours, and you either win the hand or you lose it. It was so dumb, but it was so funny playing. That was about all we played. But Jordo's, it was a hell of a trip. Obviously, I don't know if I'm being, I don't know if I'm exaggerating or just being too hard, but I think that was probably my last trip to Vegas where it's like that. I think if I go back, it's kind of just good restaurant, maybe see a show, maybe a concert of the Sphere, hit the spa in the morning, do that kind of trip, maybe go shopping. I don't know.
Bed Bath & Beyond, Home Depot. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know. I got a good Saturday plan. So, actually, my favorite place we went was actually called Barbershop. It was this little speakeasy. So it looks like a barbershop at the front. Guys getting their hair cut or whatever, and then you actually knock on a door in the back of the barbershop, and a guy, pulls open the screen. He's got his eyes go through. He's like, hey, and you just, say, hey, here to get let in. And they open up the door, and there's a big bar back there, and there's a stage. And there was actually a live band, and you obviously never know how a live band's going to do in a bar, but these guys fucking killed it. They were playing like 90s alternative and like early 2000s alternative, like songs just everyone knew, but you don't listen to very often. Like the one song the one song that came on that kind of got us going was Teenage Dirtbag. When's the last time you heard that one? I'm just a teenage dirtbag baby.
What a tune that is.
It was unreal. Yeah, we were just fucking singing it. Yeah.
That's an unreal wedding tune on the dance floor, by the way. That's 93.1 certified, too. Teenage Dirtbag, sneaky, really good banger.
Unbelievable. Oh, I haven't listened to it maybe since college. You know, we used to love it in college, and it just came out, and I'm like, holy fuck, I almost forgot about this song. This is an absolute banger. So I actually lost my voice at that place because it was like every song I was just, I was a little, tuned up a little bit and just screaming these songs, singing too loud. And obviously, you're trying to talk to your buddies, you can't even hear them, so you're just screaming in their ear. And it's like, what's that? What'd you say? And then after like 2-3 tries, you're like, just fuck it, I'm going to get a drink.
Yeah, you're full night at the Roxbury mode where you're bobbing your head. And you're like, should we make out? What? You're Will Ferrell. You're just going full night at the Roxbury. That's all time. But those bars like that, Auzzo, like that is kind of, now that I graduated out of my 20s and you're going to be there next year, it's just like Vegas. I can do one night at Omnia. I can go to see the Chain Tokers at XS. But like after that, man, like doing back-to-backs or even a 3-and-3 that's only legal in the American Hockey League, it's like I just don't know if I had that much Willie Beeman steaming in me anymore in terms of like really like getting excited about it. But if you go to a place like that and you can kind of change it up and you're able to sit down, get some real estate, the volume's at not, volume 300, it's maybe at 100, right? So you're still losing your voice, but there's good tunes on, there's good vibes. You're kind of just hanging out and it's more relaxed because as you said, you go into Vegas, like, I don't know. Like, did you get a night out at a club where you're getting back at like 5 a.m. and all of a sudden you're walking the strip a little bit in terms of just like a graveyard shift? I always like walking it off after those nights and just kind of seeing the strip. But then it's like spooky hours, man. It's like the vampires are out. Every guy, every 6 feet is trying to sell you snow. It's like, fella,
the amount of escorts walking up and down the hotel hallways, it's just like every one of them's like, hey, what are you doing tonight? It's like, fuck off, get the hell out of here. Like I don't even have a domer on me. Fucking no shot.
Like get the fuck out of here. But how much? Like seriously, like But you go there and you stumble into like the Chandelier bar at the Cosmo at 5 a.m. It's just strictly hookers. It's like, oh my God. And then it's like you go outside and say you want to just kind of just walk it off. You're walking the strip. Maybe you want to cruise by the Bellagio on your way home from the Wynn or whatever it is. And it's just every guy and their mother trying to sell you a bag of something. It's like, fella, I'm all set here. I'm just going home. But those are always funny. I always like walking out of those clubs because it kind of sobers you up because you have to keep your chin tucked. And also at the same time, you got to be a little bit more alert too than what you were in that club. It's like, okay, well, I'm in Sin City. Yeah, it's well lit, but I could get lit up too real quick.
Oh yeah, and then you feel like once all the lights are off, you feel like no one can see you, and then you walk out of it, and you're like, holy fuck, like people can see me now. I don't know what I look like. I gotta watch what I'm doing now because people can see me. So yeah, that is kind of a sobering walk once you get out of those places. But it's just
you guys got to tee it up there too, Auzzo, right? You played a decent thing, right? In terms of
TPC Summerlin, it was actually like 94 degrees out, pretty hot, but we had a hell of a round. Unbelievable track. I mean,
I was going to ask you, how was it? Good felt?
It was so sick. You should have seen the shacks they had on this place.
Ooh, I bet.
My
Summerlin
God.
There too.
Oh, I'm like, Jesus Christ, who the fuck is that? It looks like 6 Marriotts put in one. Some guy just living in it.
Yeah, that's not bad out there. A bunch of the Vegas Golden Knights guys live out that way. There's got to be a couple guys that have shacks on that TPC. You'd like to think, but like it was nasty. It was like you go back and play it.
It was probably one of the nicest courses I've played. I mean, it's definitely top 5, if not 3. It was nice. I was fortunate to play it. One of the guys we went with is a TPC member, so he kind of got us out there, which was great. Yeah,
and another track we got to get to someday, Auzzo, out there, and the price seems like it's going up by the day, is that Shadow Creek. Mm-hmm. That course, when it was originally built, was like $250, and if you knew someone inside MGM or one of those hotels, they could get you out there because you can't drive out there yourself. You have to take a car service. And now if you want to play Shadow, not only do you have to know someone or be asked to go play it, it's like I think it's almost 2K around now, that shadow. And remember Nosti was saying, Nost, when we had him on, was
his
saying
last course. Yeah,
he said that's one of the best courses he's ever played. So it's so crazy that a course like Shadow or some of these desert courses even make it. Like Shadow is literally just like in the middle of the desert. Like
how do they keep the felt green? I
don't know. I mean, that water bill, Jesus Christ, it's got to be, a pretty penny in terms of, what you're paying.
Yeah.
There's probably so many bodies buried under that thing too, if you think about it.
100%.
Old school Vegas, like that town just fucks. But Auzzo, glad to see you made it back in one piece. My weekend over here, brother, was Friday night, kind of just slid into one a little bit over at the Global Trim Ambassador. I just want a quick story I wanted to tell you because it was so funny. Like, we were just hanging out there, me and Gooch. We did some work in terms of we were kind of editing our off-season Hockey Night in Scottsdale stuff, and we're like, it was like 9 o'clock or whatever it was. We're like, fuck, what should we do? Well, obviously, what you're going to do. Go grab something to eat. Then they start sliding, and that's what we kind of did. But there was this global ambassador was having like their members like last little shaker before all these rich people go off into their summer homes, where they go to San Diego, they go to up to Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, to one of those discovery projects, or maybe they go somewhere northeast. Maybe they're going to the Hamptons. Getting out of the sun, because pretty soon here in the desert, as you know, Auzzo, you're gonna be able to cook a turkey in your glove compartment. Like, it's coming, and it's just coming on your chin. Like, I looked at I'm getting out of town here tomorrow, but I was looking at just the radar in terms of the 10-day on the weather app. It's like, oh, here it comes. It's 112, it's 113. And by the time you hit July, like it could be on a week where it's hot, it could be 120. So all these people are getting out of town. They're going up to their summer houses because they're fucking loaded. But Coach Dar, who we had on, shout out to Dar, she was hanging out with her friend, and she's a member at this Global Ambassador, aka I call it the Regional Trim Ambassador, because there's nothing global about it. But it's just funny that we walked into this party, and it was kind of like in the members area, because they have this membership you can get, and it comes with like a pool. They have the grill. So we walked in like the restaurant side of the things, where you have to be accompanied by a member. So Dar walks me and Rob in, and we're kind of hanging out with Dar and her friend. And dude, my outfit, I don't know if you caught it. I don't know if you saw it. I posted it on Friday. It was so funny because all these guys in there, how they're dressed, just like absolute jabronis. They're dressed like Bradley Cooper. They're dressed like Bradley Cooper and Wedding Crashers. You know what I mean? Going to a Cleary family tradition.
That's exactly what I was picturing.
You know what I mean? They're like Bradley Cooper and Wedding Crashers. Sack going to the Cleary house. Crab cakes and football. That's what Maryland does. So all these people are decked out in their Sperry's. Nicer than Sperry's. Obviously, the Gucci slides. They had the white belt. I mean, that's a staple. Salmon colored pants, white pants. They had the Bobby button downs going. Everything, head to toe. Probably MSRP at about 10K. So I walk in there. I open up the doors, and to open up the doors, everyone was kind of milling around the bar. Like, you kind of have to make a scene because the members are like, oh, who's this? So in walks me. I have a Cleveland Indians hat on, cocked like Fernando Rodney, straight left. I had these Levi jeans, Auzzo, that I got, and I picked them up over Christmas. I went in there and I said, give me the baggiest jeans you have. So I went in there and got these baggy-ass jeans. So I had those on. They're like 2 sizes too big. I'm dressed like I'm in an NBA 2002 rap video is how I'm dressed. Yeah. And I had, to top out that, I had my Hooters shirt on Daytona Beach.
No way.
You should have seen the looks I was getting from these people. This one girl, like one of the wives of whoever these fucking losers are, was absolutely mean mugging me. She did it like this. Like, when you go like head to toe on someone, she's like, I was like, oh my God. And I started dying laughing, and I just didn't break character. And
that's the best part.
Oh, it was the best, man. It was so funny because my fit was just all time. I honestly didn't think they were going to let me in, but I didn't give a shit. I would just go back to the bar. But it was so funny because just those jabronis that are just like take themselves way too seriously. Yeah, congrats, man. You do well. Like, nice fucking outfit. They're saying the same thing about me, but I just think my style was way more nasty than what those guys had cooking. It was pretty funny, man.
It's always funny seeing those people. My favorite part is when they, I love being around those people. And like most of the time, I'm around random people. I probably won't throw like a chew in or anything, try to keep it respectful. Yep. But when you're around those people, I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna make sure they're looking at me. I'm not just throw a fucking hoss at and like fuck
Yeah,
these
oh,
people.
yeah.
Maybe try to
Front
spit on the floor right in front of fuck you looking at.
Piss forever, just do whatever you want. That's what I was thinking the whole time. I was like, buddy, you might have way more money than you, but I could out drink you, I could out fuck you, I could out beer pong you. Let's go play golf. I'm not any good, but you're probably even worse than me. Like, whatever you want to do, let's play it right now, because these guys are just absolute pretenders in terms of, I mean, yeah, they got the wallet, but who gives a shit, right? So it's just funny when you walk in there. It's like them and their wives with absolute Tampa Bay bolt-on nukes on. They're all like 35. The guy's 55. He's a silver fox. It's his third wife. It's like, oh my God, man, unbelievable. And speaking of third wives, another hilarious story. I don't know if you caught my tweet the other day, but so this building that I live at is, you always obviously have the homeowners association, the HOAs, Auzzo.
Mm-hmm.
So I was on the bike the other day, and I get off the bike and I go over to the hot tub off the gym and the cold tub, and I'm kind of sitting around there and just hanging out and about to get in the tub and just kind of killing time. And there's like a couple there that's kind of hanging out before me. So I'm like, all right, I'll just sit at this table, watch the game. No worries. So I'm sitting at the table watching the game, and they leave. So they leave and kind of wrap up. I'm like, nice. I'm going to get in the cold tub here, take a little soak, get my body going. I'm a little tight right now. So before I do that, a security guard walks over and he starts grilling me. He's like, do you live here? I'm like, yeah, I've lived here since the building was built. He's like, what's your name? I'm like, Jordan Schmaltz. He's like, what number, condo unit do you live in? I told him the number. He's like, oh, okay. Like, just wanted to check. I go, why? He's like, oh, some people like didn't think you lived here. I go, what? What? Yeah, she's like, yeah, like someone was complaining that you weren't a resident. I'm like, okay. So I was really taken off guard. I was like, that's weird. Like, all right, man, like whatever. Security guard was cool. He's like, yeah, sorry, they just want me to ask you. So I was so rattled and flustered. I didn't even end up cold tubbing. I took like 3 minutes and I was like, bite my lip. I'm like, fuck this. So I get out of the area, go back through the gym, go up to where the security guard, his little pitch is, his little post up. And I go, that's kind of a weird play to like call someone out for not living here. No, like I'm just minding my own business. And I've actually like seen that girl because I knew it was them because I hadn't seen anyone else. So I'm like, that's a weird play. And he's like, yeah, I don't know. Like they just said they haven't seen you. I'm like, that's fine. Like I just tell them next time they can stop by my place anytime. I make a mean fajita. They're more than welcome to come kick it at my place. So that was the first offense on Sunday. Second offense, someone snipes a picture of me. I don't know if you can see this on the bike.
No.
And around it is a puddle of sweat because, as you know, I'm a big sweater, and that's just what happens when you work hard and you're fucking Lance Armstrong on the Peloton. So I'm on the Peloton. I get an email the next day, but it was a offense from 20 minutes before when I'm telling you this story. Someone takes a picture of me on the Peloton and says, I sweat a lot and I don't pick up the mess or clean up the mess. So I'm like, what is going on? I'm like, every time I use that bike, I clean it up. I sweat disgustingly. I take those antibacterial wipes that they offer. I clean it up. Yeah, it might be a little wet after that because I really soak the floor because it's disgusting, right? Like I'm not going to just leave a mess. We've known that since we played at North Dakota. And my dad owns fucking gyms. He owns 50 gyms. Of course I know just clean up your own shit, right? So I get an email that says, I've received complaints that you've been using the Peloton and you while you're using it, you move it and you don't place it back because it's kind of like under the TV. So I'll move it back like 2 feet so I can watch the TV, right? Move it back every time. And then it says that I don't wipe down my bike. So I'm like, what is going on? Why are the people of the building all over me? I know this is getting a little long-winded, but so I write back, Auzzo. It's like, it was so funny. I'm trying to pull up the email right now.
Yeah,
but
what'd you say?
The email back, and again, I was at this point, I'm like, bite my lip again. I'm like, what's going on? So, I type up an email and I say, it's a little long-winded, but I basically, the gist of it was, number one, being another resident complained yesterday saying I wasn't a resident and made me state my room number and read my Miranda rights. Other than that, I believe I said who I thought the resident was. And then number two, now I have this bike thing on the same day. I said, number one, it's kind of weird, a weird play to take a picture while someone's working out. I mean, but that is what it is. And then I said, not sure why I'm being singled out on two separate occasions. But if it makes them feel important, I get it. So it must be just people like, just have nothing better to do with their lives. But I got called out by my building twice in one day for 2 different offenses. One saying I don't live here, and 2 saying I sweat too much. What the fuck is going on?
How insane is that?
It's crazy, man.
Are they fucking serious? Like, what is going on there?
I don't know.
These people are so uptight. They want to feel important. They want to feel like
Correct.
they're just booting someone out. Like they have nothing better to do. They just complain. It's the same people who own homes, and they bother the 911 operators. Like, hey, this guy walked by in front of my house. It's like, yeah, it's a fucking public sidewalk, but he's just walking by.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering. I was like, I even threw out another tweet. I was like, your tan is good when you're getting racially profiled at your own building, because I must have been looking a little dark. I mean, other than, what are these white folks coming up to me saying, you don't live here? It's like, what are you talking about, buddy? Let me know what your number is and I'll try to buy your place so you move the fuck out of here as well. It's like, just get out of my business. Jesus Christ. So that was funny. But Auzzo, on a little bit of a lighter note, my favorite weekend of the year is coming up. Leaving tomorrow for the Screws of Cleveland. We're doing our not annual, I'd say maybe biannual Schmaltz Bros baseball trip. We're doing Cleveland. We're getting in the Bone Rattler, the Sprinter van. We're taking that into Pittsburgh and then on to Cincinnati and then up to the Dirty, baby. So cannot wait for this trip. Nick's going, Jakey's going, uncles, dad, grandpa, load up the Sprinter van, going through the armpit of America in terms of the east side of the Midwest. I cannot wait. I've seen a couple of these parks. I've seen games in Detroit. I've seen games in Pittsburgh. Never in Cleveland, though, at Progressive Field, and never in Cincinnati. So I'm fired up. And the best part about this whole trip is not only hanging out with the fellas, but it's basically my grandpa's trip to evaluate hot dogs all over the world, all over the country. So we've done the East Coast swing. We've done the West Coast. We've done now the Midwest tour. So the only things we'd have to touch off is probably the Florida trip. But man, last year was hilarious. We went to this dog stand leaving San Diego to LA at like 10 in the morning. And my dad, my uncle, grandpa, they're all looking at us like, you guys don't want any hot dogs? I'm like, fellas, it's 10 in the morning and we're in a Home Depot parking lot somewhere off the coast of San Diego right now, and I'm hung as fuck. What do you think? The first thing I wake up and I just crave a meat missile, buddy? I got home at 4 in the morning. I was in the gas lamp district with Nick and Jake till 4. You think I want a fucking hot dog meat missile with relish and fully loaded right now? Are you off your goddamn mind? Like, what are you talking about?
Thing on your fucking laps in 10 minutes?
Yeah, like what are we just gonna pull over in 6 minutes and take a shit somewhere off the side of the road? Like, what are you talking about? So that's the best part about the trip, is because G-Pops, as we call him, the OG from Bismarck, North Dakota, is basically just on a dog tour to find the best dog in the country. And this is why these trips are put together. Not only do you get a dog at the game, we have sanctioned stops along the way every time we go. Oh, yeah, to get dogs. Oh, yeah. Every trip, at least every time we get in the car, we stop at least 2 dog stands or a place that has a highly rated dog, and we try it out. I mean, I'll get like one every other, and these guys are just mowing through dogs. It is hilarious, man. But the one funny thing is no one besides me, Nick, and Jake really booze. I mean, my Uncle Mort will booze a little bit. My dad, no. Grandpa will have like one. But I just remember like every trip that we've been able to drink, and especially in San Diego last year, we'll be like 15 deep at the bar, and our slogan is, should we go out? It's like 2 in the morning. Like, should we go out? Like, we're just sitting there like,
should we start drinking now?
Like, should we go out? So yeah, that's Auzzo, I'm fired up, man. Like, it's my favorite trip of the year. And you know how it is, like with the grandparents and even like our parents now, like getting to hang out with them when they're a little bit older. You can appreciate them so much more now, as an actual adult, and just hang out with them, the quality time. And it's just awesome to be around those guys. So I can't wait. And someone's going to get in a fight. It happens every year. It's usually Morty and my Uncle Mark. I've seen those guys almost square up in a Sprinter van, like pull off to the side of the road and try to duke it out. My grandpa, like looking at him, be like, are you dipshits really going to do this? Like, so
yeah,
it is all time, man. I can't wait. The best story was when we were driving up. I think it's like the I-5 or the I-8 from New York City up to Boston. It was our first ever baseball trip. And Mark was sitting directly behind Monty. Monty was driving the Sprinter van, and he's like telling him he's driving like a pussy. Like, are you serious? Like, fucking step on it or whatever. Like, you take your purse off when you're driving, Mort. He's like, finally just like turns around. And he's like driving, and it's like New York City traffic, man. He like turns around. He's like, what did you say? He's like, you're driving like a pussy. Then he flicks him in the ear, and they're like about to square up. They're like, pull it over right now. He's like, I'll fucking beat your ass right now. Pull it over. So they were about to pull it over like mid traffic, like literally like a traffic jam, until my grandpa was like, just all right, guys, enough. And then everyone just like went back to like just hanging out. So I know that's long-winded, but I just had to tell the story because it's so funny and we always laugh about it. And Mark can never like truly laugh about it, and Monty can never really truly laugh about it too. It's just so funny because I think at the end of the day, like, you know, Mark was the middle child and Monty was the youngest, so they're always out there to prove something, and they're ready to throw whenever, you know.
That's what happens. My brothers and I are pretty similar. We can't do anything with each other without fighting at least 50% of the time. It's hilarious because you know what pisses them off, and you just purposely do it to piss them off. You know, it's the best. But Jordo, I did want to ask. I mean, does Deepa have like a top 3 dog spots that you guys have been to? Like, does he have a list? Like, all right, this one's in the top 5.
Yeah, G-Pops does. His number 1 overall consensus over the years, I think, was this Jappa dog placed in Vancouver, of all places. And he hasn't been able to find it since. I think he's been up to Vancouver maybe once or twice since. We used to go up to these hockey camps for our agent. Kurt Overcharge would host these camps up in Vancouver, and he would take us up there. And that was always his top-rated dog. But there was this other place in Connecticut that we did hit the one year. Like I was just telling you about that trip, the first one, the East Coast swing. It was a dog stand somewhere in Connecticut in between New York City and Boston that he loved. I forget the name of it, but he would know the name. And yeah, he's over the years, he definitely has like a top 3, but those are 2 of them that I'm thinking about. And there's this other place actually on the south side of Chicago that he loves. I forget the name of it, but it's somewhere just south of the city, right off of I-90. He loves, because he loves the Chicago style dog is his favorite, fully loaded. He does call himself a purist, which is hilarious. He's like, a good dog doesn't need ketchup or mustard, so he calls himself a purist. That's how he tries every dog, but he does like the Chicago style.
Just bare bone, he tries it first. Like,
that's
unbelievable.
The best part is he's mucking the dog, and he's like, how is it? He's like, it's all right. Yeah, it's not bad. That's actually pretty shitty. And by the time he says pretty shitty, he already has the whole thing scarfed down. I was like, well, it wasn't too bad, you know. Like, it wasn't too bad, fella. Like, you just ate the whole thing in 4 seconds. So
I wonder if he's on to something here. Like, I didn't even know hot dogs could taste different.
Oh yeah, he is the connoisseur of all connoisseurs. He measures the bread. He measures, you know, he definitely likes.
Does he like do they slice it down the middle? Does he like that? Get a little extra char in there?
Yeah, he likes it butterflied if it's grilled, you know. Yeah. Not if it's broiled, but if it's grilled, that's a good style. But it's the funniest thing is he calls himself a purist. That's the best part. Like, you don't need ketchup or mustard. It's just, as a purist, you don't need it. So yeah, it's always so funny because I think last year I only got him on one of the reviews, and it was at the game. San Diego at Petco Park had a really good dog, allegedly supposed to. The line was crazy. We waited in this line, and I think he gave it like a 6.8, and he said it was okay. So it's always funny listening to him just talk about the dogs. And last year, just quickly, I mean, it's a long-winded, but another funny ass story about him was he's a hilarious guy. We were at Dodger Stadium, and he wanted to go get this dog, and then he also afterwards wanted to get a shake at Shake Shack. So there was a Shake Shack in Dodger Stadium. So he's walking around, he's like, you know, kind of lost by himself, and you know, we're like, it's the 6th inning and we have no idea where this guy is. Like, he's not answering his phone, there's no service in there. So we send Morty to go try to find G-Pops, and we're sitting along the first baseline, probably 3rd deck, probably 10 rows up, not great seats, right in the sun, and almost like in bleacher category. So we're sitting there, and I look at where Shake Shack is, and it's kind of like just off the right center of the stadium, right behind, you know, right center, whatever it was. And I'm looking at the time it was the Dodgers and Giants, the Giants bullpen. So the guest bullpen I'm looking at, we're like, man, where is this guy? Like, Morty, like, go find him. So Morty goes on a walk for like 10 minutes, can't find him. No one's heard from him. And I look out to the right field foul pole. And I just see this guy, the Silver Fox, with his transition lenses on, mucking a dog and has a shake in his hand. And he's trying to find our seats, but he's nowhere in the same area code. I'm like, oh my God, there's G-Pops. I pick him out like it's like, where's Waldo? And I'm like, and everyone's like, oh my God, there he is. So we call Morty, tell him where he is. He gets back to his seats. It's the 7th inning now. He sits down, and we had planned, because we're all so fucking hungry, to leave in the 8th. So at this time, he's going to watch half an inning. He sits down, and mind you, my dad had picked out the tickets. He always gets the tickets either through Dave St. Peter, who we've had on, or just gets the tickets. G-Pop sits down without saying a word, and he says what we're all thinking. He just looks at us and looks at Mike. He goes, pretty shitty seats, eh? It was so good. Like, so unassuming, mucking his fucking shake. He didn't end up getting his hot dog, and he just sits down. He goes, pretty shitty seats, eh? So it was so good. It was so
That's
good.
all time. I love
Oh,
it.
man. We were just howling because we're all just sweating. Our fucking asses are mucky. But, yeah, that's the baseball trip. Can't wait to get to it. So enough about me. I feel like I'm just talking about myself the whole time. So let's get over to some news around sports. Let's get to some news around, well, hockey, not the National Hockey League, but some major news out of the Major League Hockey. Auzzo, I don't know if this is all smoke and mirrors. I am told that Monte Teo's ex-girlfriend is the commissioner of this league, so I don't know what's going on in terms of if it's real or if it's fake. I'm not sure, but 3-on-3 hockey is what it is, the Major League Hockey. 16 cities, Glendale being one of them here in Arizona, and it is a pro 3-on-3 hockey league. $30 million is the alleged cap for 13 to 16 odd players on a team. The teams will be based out of 3 pro players, college kids, U Sports, so that's Canadian University, and junior kids, Auzzo. I mean, what do we make of this? It's been very hush-hush, but people in and around hockey seem to think this is going to be a go. I have no idea. I'm leaning towards there's no fucking way. And how are they paying $30 million? That's an average of like $2 million per guy. And who's going to go watch these games? It's 3-on-3 hockey.
The Saudis backing this up.
That's the rumor.
Live hockey. That's unbelievable. I mean, fuck. If this is a real deal and it comes out confirmed, I mean, I'm going to be dusting off the skates and trying out. 30 million cap, play 3-on-3. I mean, what the?
That's what I was saying, Auzzo. I always said the price to get Jay Swish back on the sheet is 7 figures. I'm not playing in your men's league tournament, but if you're paying guys $2 million, say it's even $3 million, say a guy like Phil Kessel says, yeah, I'll play in this league, and they're paying him $6, $7, $8 million to play in a 3-on-3 hockey league. My questions are, Auzzo, is who the fuck is going to go to a 3-on-3 hockey game in Glendale, Arizona, if they can't even get NHL hockey to go there? And also, are they just going to run out of money? Because it's like, how can they pay those guys that much cake when none of the infrastructure makes sense? Exactly. And the alleged talk is it's only a weekend league. It's only Friday, Saturday. These guys are going to be playing games. So how would you even make that work? It seems like there's no way, right?
If you have like a huge TV deal signed up, that's the only way it'd work. I mean, you're definitely not going to sell tickets. Like, who the hell? I mean, 3-on-3 is like, I mean, you watch in the NHL, and when it goes to overtime, it's like, yeah, it's kind of cool. But those are also the best players in the world playing 3-on-3. You're going to have guys who aren't even in the American League or in real hockey leagues. You're going to have lower than that. These players that have talent levels lower than that. It's not going to be fun watching them play 3-on-3. No one wants to watch me play 3-on-3. Are you fucking kidding me? I'd rather watch fucking grandpa play fucking pickleball.
Yeah, it's like, so you're going to have a guy from the University of Manitoba, U Sport athlete, come on and play on a line with, say, a guy like Phil Kessel. You're going to try to peel a guy away from the National League to play in a 3-on-3 league. I don't know. And our boy Brad Elliott Schlossman is like the first one to shut down these reports and just be like, no, this is total bullshit. And apparently it's like a guy that was close to buying the St. Louis Blues back in like 2010. I forget his name, but no one knows if he's actually a real person or not. Like, they don't know. Like, they've never seen him. They've never heard of him. He's just a ghost. That's why I said it's Monte Teo's ex-girlfriend running the league, because no one knows if it's backed by Saudi money, if it's, I forget the guy's name here that I'm blanking on, but you can Google it. It's just a very mysterious kind of thing. And I guess people have been told that, GMs that have signed on to be a part of this league, coaching staffs, even players, have all had to sign NDAs in terms of they can't talk about it. So I don't know what's going on. There's supposed to be a big announcement in and around the Stanley Cup Final, but I just have a hard time believing that something like this is going to get legs and really get off the box, because you see it even with that 3-ice league. I mean, their cap essentially went down, and I think by at least 50%. Guys that used to play in that 3-ice league, Auzzo, the first year you could make over 6 figures. Now I'm pretty sure it's down to 20 or 30K because the business model just simply didn't work, right?
Well, it just doesn't work. How are you going to pay the guys? It just doesn't make sense. I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't know either, but who knows? If they got a team in Glendale and they need the people's captain, give me a call, man. Let's try to get something worked out, but we'll monitor that as it goes. Auzzo, another thing in and around the sports world this week, as basketball and hockey are a little bit of on a hiatus until the finals start, was I thought it was a cool debate. Live in 5, healthy debate over here was 2017 Warriors in terms of Golden State or the 2004 Detroit Pistons. Rasheed Wallace, a.k.a. the Ball Don't Lie, one of my favorite players, was going back and forth, chin on chin with Draymond Green, saying they would dust those boys up. And then obviously Draymond Green back in his team, Dub Nation, the Warriors, that 2017 Warriors team with KD, Klay Thompson in his prime, Chef, Dre. But, man, I don't know. If you're looking at those teams, you remember how nasty that 2004 Detroit Pistons team was, baby?
Yes.
Those boys were bad boys.
Yeah, I mean, you got Rip Hamilton, you got Tayshaun Prince,
Chauncey Billups.
Chauncey Billups. Sheed is an animal.
Ben Wallace.
Oh, man. Darvin Ham was on the team, actually, huh?
Yeah, he was.
Look at the roster right now. Yeah, those guys were nails, man. They played a hard game. Here's the deal. I heard that debate, Jordan, and it's okay, well, if you're playing basketball rules right now, who the hell's going to beat the 2017 Warriors?
Right.
That team was unbelievable. But if you're playing the basketball rules back then, who the hell's going to beat that Detroit Pistons team?
That was the argument, was Draymond was saying you guys averaged 80 points a game. It's well, if you're playing bad boy basketball in 2004,
yeah,
KD's getting locked up. He's getting the glove on him. Chauncey Billups is going to body Chef Curry. He's not going to be able to stay with him laterally, but he's going to be all over him. Rip Hamilton, good luck guarding him because he's a fucking Energizer bunny, whoever's on him. Tayshaun Prince, sneaky long. He can guard KD. I don't know. And you got Rasheed Wallace. He's borderline Hall of Fame player too. And Ben Wallace, good luck driving the paint on him. I don't know. That would be an interesting debate. I think if you're playing, like you said, the rules nowadays, I think those Warriors, just the way they can shoot the shit out of the ball. I mean, prime Klay Thompson and Chef Curry, that's all you really need.
Yeah, that team was lights out. I mean, they were good before KD got there.
Yeah, they were. But I just thought it was a cool debate in terms of, what team would you be taking? It's kind of like the bad boys versus the new school, just Splash Brothers. So I'm sticking with my Pistons because I love those boys, but I don't think they could get it done in this day and age in terms of the rules. Auzzo, going over to the felt, our boy Mike Fluff Cowan, longtime caddy for Jimmy 5-Hour, Fearic Tiger, and a couple others, Freddie Couples as well. While caddying for CT Pan at the RBC Classic up in Canada, went down with an injury. Mid-round, just collapsed. I don't know if it was a knee injury. I don't know what happened to Fluff, but he went down and was unable to finish. So they called in Paul Emerson, who was a super fan outside the ropes and actually caddied for CT Pan for, I believe, 3 or 4 holes before the tour officials came in with a substitute caddy, ultimately led him to another caddy. CT Pan went through 4 loopers that weekend, but talk about just an all-time experience. It's like David Ayers or an emergency backup getting a call where you're just on the bag and you're giving your guy your number. If you get in that opportunity, I'd be giving numbers all day. I don't even give a shit if I'm 20 yards off. Fella, stock 5, hit it fucking thin.
Yeah, just giving them hey, buddy, I saw you earlier. You were hitting your 8 about 175 yards. I think you're going to want to saw one off with the 8 here. CT's just the fuck are you talking about? I hit 9.
Yeah. I think that thing breaks to the parking lot. Go left with it. The only reason why you think that is because you have one shoe on right now. It's the happy more. Yeah, it's oh my god. Yeah, hey fella, just massage this one. It's when she's breezy, swing easy. I would be just all over him if you got that opportunity to go in there, especially with a guy like CT Pan. Well, again, I'm just assuming, I'm not racially profiling, but I don't know if he speaks that good of English. I'm not sure if he's from the U.S. or if he's from somewhere overseas in Asia, but That would be so funny, man, in terms of getting the call just right from outside the ropes. You're 9 beers deep.
Oh, that boy, I saw that guy too. I mean, nothing against this boy, but he obviously doesn't mind eating, and he probably doesn't mind crushing beers either. I mean, he probably hammered a couple of meat missiles at least, and he was definitely 2-3 deep at the time.
Yeah, I mean, who wouldn't be, right? You're at the RBC Classic celebrating. But I just thought that was so funny. I just imagine getting the call, man. You're just on hole 3 or whatever it is. You see Fluff go down, and he actually had to he took the bib off of Fluff. Like, Fluff was hurt, and he still wore the bib. It's like, come on, man. Like, are you kidding me? He's like, the article I read was like, yes, he did help Fluff get the bib off, threw it on, wore it proudly for a few holes before he was ultimately replaced. So just wanted to give a couple clicks to Paul Emerson because that is all time. Auzzo staying on the felt, but on the gridiron, Justin Jefferson and the Minnesota Vikings have agreed to a deal, 4 years, 140 bananas. That is 110 guaranteed, 35 million a year if he gets all of it, 27 in a hook if he gets 110. Now first of all, congratulations to him. The Vikings lock up a hell of a receiver, but now he probably makes as much as an NBA guy who comes off the bench, plays 20-odd minutes, and averages, 10 a night? Like, it's just...
How insane is that? The NBA money, it's like you got one of the best wide receivers to come through the NFL, and he's getting paid the same as some of these guys. They're not even household names in the NBA.
No, it is all time. It's like, that is an absolute bag. That's a Birkin, confirmed. But as we know in the NBA, in the next 2 years with these TV deals going through and the streaming devices, those guys are going to be making upwards of $100 million a year. It's like, my God, is that league just – I mean, you're never going to say no to 140 no matter how you can get it, right? One way or the other. You could take 70 and throw the other 70 up your nose but and still be okay. But it's like, fuck, that NBA money, that's different. So Vikings got a good one, obviously locked him up. That was going to be a no-brainer. Auzzo, before we get to a little bit more NBA talk, let's touch on the Stanley Cup Final. Before we get to that, got to give a couple clicks and just pay our respects to the kid out of Plover, Wisconsin, humble Joe Pavelski, most likely done. Going to retire this year. It'll be 40 in July. Most playoff goals from an American all time, over 1,300 matches, 1,000 points. If this is it for humble Joe, I mean, what a career. The 7th round pick out of Wisconsin via Waterloo, party town that was. Actually lived with longtime coach and general manager there, PK Handjob. So, man, what a run for humble Joe. If this is it, that white stick, I mean, one of the greater tippers of all time, one of the more clutch players. Like, couldn't really skate.
He could never really skate. He was just always knew where to be. He could tip the puck. I mean,
so good.
Oh, man, unbelievable player.
So good. And, I mean, fuck, man, get on with your life, right? You're 40 years old, and you still got a lot to live. He's going to be hanging out with this kid whose nickname is actually Big Tuna, by the way. He's a big fella. Definitely doesn't, he likes his food. So Big Tuna, I'll be hanging out with him. I'll be back in the Madison area. So that's it for Joe. Just want to give him some love there. Auzzo, going over the Stanley Cup Final, going into the weekend here in terms of predictions, getting along with, well, I didn't think Edmonton would be here, but we knew Florida probably would. If you're looking at this series as a whole, I mean, fuck, dust off the air mileage money if you're going back and forth if you're a reporter. It's the longest ever mileage-wise in terms of distance between teams, with Edmonton and South Florida getting in the 305 over there at Fort Lickerdale. But who you taking in this series, and how many games do you think? And who wins the Conn Smitty? Give me 3 parts there.
I made the mistake, Jordo, in the Western Conference Finals of picking the Stars because I thought they had a deeper team. I mean, right now it's like Florida to me obviously looks better, but you got to go with the best player on the ice, Connor McJesus. This guy is unbelievable. I'm not going to bet against him again. I don't care who else is on. I don't care who's in net for the Oilers. I don't care who's on their decor. This guy, I think it's his time. I hope it is. I think he deserves it. Even though, it's kind of, it is kind of Canada versus U.S., Jordo, and, I'm obviously a U.S. guy, but it's like you got McDavid versus Matty Tkachuk, who's kind of the face of USA hockey in the playoffs, at least right now. So, I don't know. I'd be happy to see either team win.
So if you're taking McDusty, how many games do you think he gets it done in? Is that a 6 or a 7 gamer?
I'm going to go 6.
6? Yep. I like it. I mean, just that toe drag he had the other day, no angle dangle around Mural High School.
A lot of hockey played by Florida, too, in the last 2 years. I mean, it's got to catch up to you at some point.
100%. And even the way, Stuart Leonard Skinner is kicking, too, by the way. Like, he's getting, he's kind of seems like he's leveling up his chin. That thing's, turning into a steady slab of granite. So, yeah, I like that. I don't know why I'm going to bet against them. I thought Dallas would get it done in like 4 or 5 games against Edmonton. I was completely wrong on that. But I'm going to stick with Florida. I'm going to go Matty Tkachuk, those guys in 6 games. I got Matty Tkachuk as the Conn Smitty. Obviously, if you're taking Edmonton, you know who's going to win it. But did you see that video of the McDavid buying beers after the game in Edmonton and those fans all around him? First of all, why doesn't he have a driver? Because he's probably too goddamn humble. And number 2, fella, you need a security guy. I don't care where you are, but if you're playing hockey in Canada, you're Connor McDusty. You're making 13 and a hook.
You can't be in that position.
No, you can't be driving the Tesla over to Shoppers or the Beer Mart or wherever you are and grabbing your lizards and taking them back to the hot tub because all the boys are coming over to your place and Stetchy's going to be in there hanging out. Like, man, I know you're a humble guy and you're a good kid and you got a good chin. But that was kind of scary, man. Really.
It was. And it didn't look good. I mean, that's a terrible look for fans. Like, what do you guys do? I don't care how much you love the guy. It's like, you're Canadians, hockey. This guy's got a cup to win. Fucking leave him alone.
Yeah, and like don't be hugging him and like trying to get in his car. Like that was a really uncomfortable, weird scene. Even just watching it through a screen, I thought that was like, wow, that's just alarming.
I was cringing.
Yeah, and like the Oilers, like now as an organization, like you should fucking get him a security guard. You should get him a driver. He's the best goddamn player in the world. He is one of one. If you are one of one in any walk, any field of life, number 1, your organization, take care of the guy. And number 2, get some fucking security because you are the best of the best.
Yeah, and I didn't like that. I thought it was just absolutely insane, especially the way that the fans were just all over him. And obviously McDavid's just head down, doesn't say anything, just what the fuck did I get myself into here?
Yeah, he's like, Jesus Christ, just get off me and hopefully I don't get stuckered or something, or they try to get in my car because he was getting mauled, man. That was weird. So we'll see on that front, Auzzo. Those games, they start this weekend. They're going off the box, I believe, Saturday. So good luck to the boys. The cup, man, nothing like the mug. That shiny piece of silver. And Phil Picard comes out in those creepy white mitts, and he starts dusting it off, and it's in the building, and you're like, holy fuck. You know what? I wish I was just a little better at this sport, and I wish I was, a little bit tougher to play 4 rounds of playoff hockey because that trophy, there's nothing like it, just being in the building with it. So can't wait for that, Auzzo. Going to be some good puck. Going back to the wood quickly, just Dallas, Boston. We're going into the NBA Finals. That's starting up this weekend as well. Should be a good tilt. We got Luka, Kyrie swerving back in Boston, going back into, where people literally hate the guy. Prez, a.k.a. Dave Portnoy, has been tweeting all week about how much he just can't stand this guy, how much he's going to be in his kitchen. But in all seriousness, man, it should be a good tilt. I do think it's Boston's year if I'm looking at it from an outsider's perspective, but don't sleep on these boys from Dallas. Kyrie, the way he been playing and the way Luka Doncic is playing, holy fuck. I mean, they could easily get this done too. You never know, fella.
They could. I mean, again, it's like, who do you choose? I think Boston has the better team. They're deeper. But then you got Luka Doncic, who might be the best player in the NBA. Him and Nikola Jokic, couple white boys.
Yep.
Sorry about it, but I think they are. He's better than Jason Tatum for sure. Kyrie, I got Kyrie over Jaylen Brown. Yep. So if those guys show up, what are you going to do about those guys? You can't do shit. You're not doing anything.
No, and Dallas is a lot deeper than they get credit for, too. I mean, they got some nice role players. Obviously, Boston with Drew the Glove Holiday and a couple other options. Al Horford, the kid out of Florida, same class as Joakim Noah back in the day. How are you? But, yeah, it should be good. I can't wait. I can't wait for even just – I hope Kyrie gets booed in Boston, and then I hope he puts up a 40-piece right in front of their fucking face because I love the back and forth. If you're going to boo me, it actually makes me play better. And as Sidney Crosby always used to say, Auzzo, they don't boo nobodies, fella. They really don't. You know, there's a reason why you're getting booed.
It's an honor to get booed. I mean, I would kill to get booed by people. It'd be unbelievable. That means they care about you.
Yep.
And if you're hated like that, yeah, you're big time, baby. And I would just, you know, I've always just had something against Boston fans too. Like they think they're so cool, city of champions, whatever, this, that. Like I would love to see them lose, man. It'd be so funny.
Yeah, and I don't know what would happen if they actually did lose, because this core has been at the forefront forever in terms of when are these guys going to be ready? When can they get over the hump? Is Jaylen Brown good enough? Is Jason Tatum a big enough dog? Do they have the supporting cast? They bring in a guy like Drew Holiday to be a really good lockdown defender. Now, I don't know, like, who's going to guard Kyrie? Are they going to put Drew on him? I mean, fuck, the glove's good, but, I mean, Swerve's going to dice him up. He's going to have his way, you know?
Oh,
And
yeah.
then who's going to guard Luka? Are you going to put Al Horford on him when he's in? Are you going to, you know, you're going to double team him? It's going to be interesting to see because Luka can get his points anyway. Yeah, obviously, he's very methodical, cerebral. And then you got Kyrie, who can just absolutely chop it up on a mission, too, because you know he wants his first championship without LeBron or all these places he's been. So I'm really fired up for this, Auzzo, in terms of the association. You know how much I love it. So can't wait for that. Moving right along, though, over here at Live in 5, we have, well, my favorite, as always, section or part of the show. Folks, it is One Hitters with Auzzo. Starting at the top, our first question is, I don't know if I've asked you this before. I think I've asked you a variant of it, but I just wanted to get your thoughts, especially moving into the summer months where it gets a little bit hotter here and you might have to move away from a warm drink and go cold, but at the end of the day, you stick to what works. Irish coffee or espresso martini? Like a good espresso martini too, and a good Irish, you know, like elite of the elite.
Right now, are you talking whenever, or are you talking right now? Just whenever, right now.
Right now.
Summer months.
Right now. Yeah, right now.
I have to go espresso martini. It's tough for me to drink a hot drink when it's summertime, and some of those espresso martinis, man, those are like, fuck. I hate how fast this thing went down. I gotta order another one. Like, there's not that much liquid in there, man. You can down them. It's like it's a 2-drinker, and you're like, fuck, it's already gone.
Yeah,
I want another one.
Yeah, you could slide down 6 of those in 10 minutes, no problem. It's like it's really a shot.
And after the second one, you forget that they're $18 a piece.
Right. Yeah, you're all in out the door at $25 at a decent establishment. Auzzo, are you a guy with the espresso martini? Do you like it a little bit more milk chocolatey, like in terms of a lighter batch, or do you like it like dark where it's just espresso and just the piss in there? Like, what's your overall flavor if you're picking one out?
I like it. I like it a little more milky. I'll be honest.
Okay.
I don't love the straight gasoline espresso, and then I feel like I can taste the liquor in there a little more. I don't love tasting the liquor in there. I want that. I'm drinking that drink for something that tastes good, you know, and that's not a drink I'm drinking to floor it. I just want something that tastes good, and I do like that milky chocolate taste. Yeah.
You're sometimes you can get away with a darker one that doesn't taste too liquory. Then that's kind of my favorite. But
if the bartender's slinging it. I mean, some of these bartenders, they know how to make a drink.
For sure. Okay, number 2, one hitters with the captain. Oakley Fast Shades or Gucci Aviators? Like a subtle pair of Gucci, not douchebaggy, just like, you know, something nice you'd wear and be like, no one would ever know they're Gucci, but they're mint.
Yeah, I mean, I think probably 5 to 7 years ago, I would have chose the Gucci's, just the normal, kind of like these, but nowadays you can't beat the Oakley Fast Shades. They don't fall off your face. You can go skydiving in them. You can play tennis in them. You can go on the boat with them. You can also fucking wear them with a suit. You know, if you're wearing them with a suit, people know what you're there for.
Yeah, you're here to party. Fast.
You got speed.
They're built for speed, comfort, and predictability because you know what I'm doing, and it's going to be fast.
Oh yeah, gotta go Oakley.
Yeah, I like that. Number 3, a couple of classics from Adam Sandler. Waterboy or Big Daddy? I was just thinking about this the other day, and I was like, fuck, I don't know.
Fuck, that's tough. I have to go Big Daddy, Jordo, because
so good.
As much as I love Waterboy, Adam Sandler kind of wore out that character for me when he's just kind of acts stupid and talks like, whatever. I love the Big Daddy, with the put some newspapers on the piss and just sleep on it, throw the stick down, that movie is all time.
It is all time, and that's like what I envision if I was a 23-year-old father. Just like if I had a kid and I was raising him myself and I was living in a loft apartment, kind of similar to the Anthill, the place we lived in Grand Forks. It's like those lines in that movie too are just so good. Like, go by the seesaw, smoke a J. He's talking like a bunch of 5-year-olds. He's like, "You-hoo with a little bit of rum, Rumpelstiltskin. Rumpelstiltskin's a good man. Stay clean, stay focused, stay strong. Frankenstein. Have fun with your friends." It's like he's talking about smoking joints with 5-year-olds at their class and Julian's buddies. I mean, that humor is just so good.
Mr. Hurley, are you drunk right now? I've had a few Chardonnays. What of it?
What of it? And it's like Rob Schneider's role as a delivery guy too. "When you come to my restaurant, never order BLT." He's telling to a 5-year-old, like, "Buddy, when is Julian coming to your restaurant and ordering a BLT?" Like, what are you talking about? It's just all the characters and the way that Happy Madison Productions evolved over time. I mean, those guys are all time. So I'm with you there, though, in terms of Big Daddy, too.
He's got a 10-year plan. What is it? Don't die?
Don't die? Hey, stay out of the frozen food section. What did you say? Your tits might freeze? Stay out of the frozen food section. Your boobies might freeze. And she'll be like, Sonny, like, Hooters, Hooters, Hooters. Oh, so good. All right, number 4, Auzzo. Beer pong best of 9 with your best buddy one-on-one, or a game of musical flip cup.
Oh, man, that's tough. It depends what kind of mood I'm in, too. I think more often I'm choosing the one-on-one best of 9.
Yeah. But
just competing. That's more of a competitor's choice right there.
Yep.
You feel good. You're battling them out. I mean, once you get to game 9, if it goes to game 9, I mean, you might be tilting after. I love that shit.
A lot of guys can go 5. Some can go 7. Not many can go 9. That's just how it is. The tale as old as time. But I do miss a nice game of musical flip cup, when everyone has the shades on and you're dancing around that table, and whether it's the girlfriends around or whoever, you got some ladies in the mix, and it's just that whole environment of musical flip. Like, I was looking through my camera roll the other day randomly, and I was just like, fuck, musical flip. What a game. What a game when it's done right. It's just, if the people that haven't played musical flip cup and don't know of the game, DM one of us and we'll get you the lowdown on that, because that's the greatest game in terms of post bar ever created, especially if you have,
gets the people going, gets everyone involved. If you got ladies there, they're playing.
Yeah, there's nothing better, especially just the whole camaraderie of it. Everyone's playing, everyone's drinking, everyone's driving. So lastly, Auzzo, I wanted to ask you, best beer. So not an actual type of beer, but just the best beers in the world and where to have them. So number 1, I had written down airport beer on the way to a trip. Number 2, lake day beer on the boat or just chilling by the campfire. A grilling beer, a tailgate beer, and my last one was an open container state beer. So you're sitting shotgun and you just got a roadie going. So if you're thinking of like the ultimate beer, which is the best to have in those settings?
The airport beer is tough to beat when you are going on that trip, because you got the whole trip ahead of you, and that one goes down easy. But you know me, Jordan, I'm sitting shotgun, maybe up north at the lake, and I got a cold one in my hands. You're about 30 minutes away from that lake place with all the fellas. I don't think you're beating that one, man, because you also got that little kid like, okay, I'm breaking the law a little bit here.
Yep.
It's pretty innocent, but I am breaking the law. And you know what? We're going to have a goddamn good weekend here, and I'm getting her started early.
Yeah, and that was always one of the better parts about even playing in a state like Texas down in San Antonio, because it was open container. So if I'm leaving the rink and I had a roommate, well, fella, you're driving. I got a 6-pack. I'm leaving the rink because this is what I did. I'm getting off the bone rattler. We just played a game up in fucking Austin, Texas. We got whacked 6-1, and I need a few that I've not only had on the bus, but in my car. So you're going to take the sticks here. You're going to drive. There's just no better feeling than that. I agree. I think the open container, especially in a legal state, is unbelievable. So, but the airport beer, tough to beat too. So that was one hitters with the captain. Folks, the People's Insider term of the day, we're going to a term I love, and that is a Maurice Richard. So what a Maurice Richard is here, folks, that is a rocket. Most known, Maurice Richard, the historic player for the Montreal Canadiens back in the day, won 8 odd Stanley Cups, maybe more. His nickname was the Rocket. The Rocket Richard Trophy still stands to this day in the NHL, but using this in a sentence and talking about females is maybe you don't want to call her a rocket or a missile or a smoke show or some of these fratty-like terms. So you slide one in the back door in terms of just a very subtle but very effective term. And that is calling her a Maurice Richard. And for all the fellas usually sitting at the table, especially hockey guys, they'll be like, what'd you say? Like a Maurice Richard? I'm like, yeah, that gal over there sitting at the high top table with all of her girlfriends, she's an absolute Maurice Richard. You're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, yeah, she's a rocket, man. She's a certified rocket. So that is what a Maurice Richard is. It's a very subtle way to acknowledge a woman that's very good looking. And I use it a lot, Auzzo. I think over time, a lot of people have caught on to it, but that's one of my favorite ones. I mean, I'm not going to take full credit for it, but I do think I came up with that. Not who Maurice Richard was, but just putting 2 and 2 together in terms of being a rocket. Another way to use rocket, well, why don't I say Maurice Richard? So synonyms on that one, obviously smoke show, a Ricky, a missile. So that's kind of that term, folks. A Maurice Richard, write that one down, put it in your fucking Palm Pilot, put it in your notebook, whether that's a college rule, whatever the hell you got, write it down in your notes because you want to use that one later. So that was People's Insider term of the day, Auzzo. Going over to Nail Gun of the Week, who'd you have, my friend?
I got, I don't know how people are going to feel about this one, Jordo, and I don't want to get political on people because this really has nothing to do with politics, but my Nail Gun of the Week is going to be Donnie Trump.
Love that.
Newly felon.
Yep.
I think his first day as a felon, he arrived to a UFC match and watched the boys go inside the octagon. Nail gun play. First day being a felon. Head over to a UFC match. Watch a couple other nail guns fight. I mean, that is just unbelievable stuff. Guy doesn't care. I mean, just fucking nail gun stuff.
Yeah, get a court date in New York City. Just slide over the George Washington Bridge, right over to the Prudential Center, right there in fucking Hoboken or whatever the hell it is in terms of New Jersey, right at the Prudential Center in Jersey City, and go watch a match. Go watch the boys duke it out. Poirier probably his last fight ever. So
he's got more street. He's got more street cred too. He's like, hey boys, I'm a felon too. He's the boys respect him a little bit more.
That was hilarious. I did see that. Did he have his usual running mates there? Was Kid Rock in attendance or no?
I don't think so.
Fuck. Where was the cowboy at? He probably had prior commitments, but that was nails. My nail gun of the week, I just had McJesus because just the patience to shoo those fans off, not only get that game wrapped up, but then go try to buy beers and you have all these people around you, just mauling at you, chomping at the bit in your ear, open up your car door. Patience of a nun right there for McJesus, especially with a phone in your face. He could have snapped. He could have, retaliated. He's probably honestly just a little bit concerned because he had his wife with him. I was like, Jesus Christ, what's going to go on here? But I just had him as my nail gun of the week, just not only fending off the Dallas Stars, fending off his own fans of Edmonton, trying to leave the beer mart. So I had McJesus on that. My Celly of the week, Auzzo, was Angel Reese. And that was hilarious because she was literally celebrating her teammate, absolutely dummying Caitlin Clark. She stood up like it was a game winner. Let's go! And then to double down and come out and say that a lot of people are watching her too, and Caitlin Clark's not the only reason why this league is taking off. It's like, bitch. And sorry, I shouldn't say bitch because Pat McAfee got in trouble for that. But lady, what the fuck are you thinking? Yeah, you're a decent player, okay? You're not a generational move the needle type player where people are now so tuned into a sport that they never have been before. Like Angel, check the ego at the door. If it was just you and there was no Clarkie in this game, the WNBA is the same goddamn thing of where it was last year.
Exact same thing.
So shut the hell up. And I just thought it was so funny. That celebration was literally crazy, man.
That was hilarious. I just love these WNBA players. They finally get some spotlight, and it is because of one player, and they just can't handle it. They're just like, fuck this girl. It's like, she sucks. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, buddy, like, she is going to get you guys all paid. Like, why don't you just fucking show some respect?
I know, and like she's the reason why you're getting the private bird now. She's the reason why there's sponsorship and endorsement money. There's a reason why people are coming to your games. It's not because of you, Angel. Angel, no one cares about you. WNBA fans, okay, you're a decent player. You're a rising potential star in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark is a cultural icon. There's a difference.
Yeah.
That's like comparing the goddamn Beatles to the Johnny Holmes band outside of Fargo, North Dakota. What are we talking about?
It's insane.
And that's no disrespect to Johnny. Shout out to Johnny, but that's just what it is.
It is. It's like,
fuck.
You guys ain't on the same level. Just accept it. It doesn't matter how pissed off you girls get. You're not going to change it. I mean, there's a reason why Caitlin Clark's games are all sold out, 18,000 people. And then the average attendance for every other game in the WNBA, Jordo, is like 8,000, 7,000. It's like, there's a reason.
And even those numbers are pumped up because they're just saying all these season ticket holders are, there or showing face. It's like, guys, just give her flowers and fuck me. Indy, get an enforcer in there. Get someone to take care of her.
Enforcer.
Overpay a girl, even if the fucking girl doesn't even like her because she's siding with, the other girls thinking they're not as important. Just overpay someone to come in there and take care of Clarkie.
Convince Dwight Howard to become a tranny and sign him.
I think he may already be. He might already be. What's Magic Johnson's kid doing? Can you play ball, baby? Come on. Can we play ball with you? Come on, get over here, baby. Oh man. So yeah, that was hilarious. Who did you have, Auzzo, for your Celly of the week?
I had the Oilers fan, the lady nukes out for a goal. Yeah. I mean, unbelievable stuff. Imagine you just have a perfect set and they score a goal and you're so fired up. Like, it looked like she didn't even know they were taking a video. She's just like, she's celebrating by herself and then she just nukes the crowd, It's like, and then she looks over at the camera and she's like, oh, like, I didn't know you're videotaping that. It's like, how do you get so fired up? You just like want to go nukes out.
Yeah, it's like the fat kid in like 8th grade. He's at like a volleyball game or a local basketball game that just gets all fired up. He's on the Jumbotron and all of a sudden he's titties out. And all the milkshake brings all the boys to the yard. That was hilarious. Yeah, that was good shit. And I mean, props to her too. What a set on her,
Good for you.
Yeah, she wasn't too. She kind of had like that Edmonton biker chick look.
Yeah,
like you might want it. Right, you might have a tramp stamp and north of 50 kills, but we're not all perfect here either, right? So I thought that was hilarious. Auzzo, I think that's going to wrap it up, man, for our episode number 41. Tape to tape with you as always. Again, Mason Lohrei joining the program this week. Great kid, good chat with him. He's a goofy kid. We had a good snap. That younger generation is just hilarious. I think they're almost too dumb for their own good. Like that kid literally stepped into the fucking lineup.
How did he step into the playoffs? Have you seen him? I mean,
well.
signed after his sophomore year. I mean, unbelievable. I mean, he's not like I know he's tall, Jordo, but he's not like a thick kid. And for him to just step into those games, I mean, you gotta have a sack.
And playing first fucking pair with McAvoy and then playing on the power play, running the second unit. I mean, they were scratching veterans of 800 games for this guy. And the way he played in that shot we talked about, we'll get into it in the interview of him just fucking going bunk on Pavelski, like looking off pasta. Auzzo got into it with him with that. So that was cool. Yeah, man, I'm just so proud of him. But just going back, I just think these guys just like he's got that swag, man. And like he's going to be a top pairing defenseman and he knows it. And it's just like, kind of just rolling with the punches. And his haircut ain't perfect, but he's a great kid. And, he's got that flow now that the kids, they rock down, they pull it over their eyebrows. And yeah, it was funny. So I think the people will really enjoy this one. Mace is awesome. So good friend of Jakey Schmaltz, but Auzzo, Thursday night, I'll be sending you some snaps because I will be in the jaw of one of my favorite towns in all of America, Cleveland, Ohio, on Ladies' Night. I can't wait to get there. This city, just that whole Midwest, Rust Belt-like cities, Detroit, Buffalo, Milwaukee, Pittsburgh, they're all the same, man. They're old steel towns.
They are.
Everyone's got a granite chin. The chicks are cool. Everyone's got a good banter on them. They can chirp. They can take a chirp. It's just – that's what you miss when you're down here in Scottsdale and you're looking at fake lips and fake sets sometimes where it's like everyone's superficial and kind of a pigeon. But you get into those good old steel towns, man, there's a lot of character. So I can't wait to get to Cleveland. And I'll be sending you some snaps, and there'll be definitely some content about the dog tour because that is hilarious.
You gotta definitely take some snaps of that. Maybe document which dog was the best. Yeah. So if I ever get to Cleveland, I can go try it out.
Yep. Yeah, no, I'll definitely be sending some updated game film. But Auzzo, that was the pre-show. We'll send it over to Mason Lohrei. Like I always say over here, brother, always good going tape to tape with you, partner. Folks, that was Live in 5 pre-show episode number 41. Hope you enjoyed it. Woo! Now introducing from the muddy swamps of Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Born on the bayou, baby. This lengthy 6'4" defender was on track to attend the same high school as Robert Boucher Jr. in Waterboy before he took a life turn and made a pivot north to a town similar to a town you'd find in rural Louisiana. Big Cream was able to escape the birthplace of the original Culvers in Sauk Prairie, Wisconsin, with no clogged arteries and no visual deep-fried food side effects, aside from funneling cheese curds since the ripe age of 6 years old. The silky, smooth southpaw defender of the Boston Bruins had a hell of a first campaign and looks to be on track to be an anchor for years to come. Folks, without further ado, please welcome Mason Lohrei to the Live in 5 podcast. Mace, how are you doing, brother?
I'm good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. You're popping by. Obviously, you just finished up the season in Boston there. A tough way to go out in terms of losing to Florida in the second round. But let's just start at the top, brother, in terms of you. It was your first full season pro. Obviously, you signed 2 years out of Ohio State. You did your freshman and sophomore year there. And then you signed with the Boston Bruins, being a second-round draft pick. You played a little bit in the jungle this year. You played 41 games up top. You had nice stats. You had 4 and 9 for 13 points. Just talk about just ending up, playing up top, especially playing in the playoffs. It's a different game that time of year, huh?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, probably just like crazy ride all year long. Felt good at camp and, got sent down, but just kind of tried to stay at it and up and down all year. I was fortunate to spend a lot of time up. It was a blast. Such a great group to be around. Especially just as a rookie, so many guys to pick things up from and learn from. And then, getting called up and going on that run in the playoffs is just so special and just so motivating for the summer.
Yeah, for sure. And you're always a guy that you seem hungry, you seem not satisfied, but just talk about in terms of coming into game 3 or whatever it was in that Toronto series. You were down in the AHL with the Providence Bruins. Were you nervous at all? Or you've been there, you played a little bit during the year. Obviously, you played 41 games in the regular season. That's half the year. Were you nervous, or was it just like, business as usual? Let's go make some noise, baby.
Yeah, I don't know about that. You're coming into the playoffs and obviously watched it every year of my life, and you know the stakes. I was coming in, it was tied 1-1. A lot of nerves for sure. I think honestly, as the series went on, maybe I got more nervous just because you're getting down the stretch there to the later games, and that game 7 was, felt like I could have passed out standing on the blue line when the national anthem was going on. But no, I don't know. I've always been a guy that gets nervous before every single game, no matter what it is. And then as soon as I get that first puck touch, whatever it is. I mean, if it's a D to D or hard rim or
little baby sauce.
Just
yeah,
right back
as long as
into
it's
it.
not a turnover, I feel good.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we were talking before a little bit in terms of just before we hopped on the call here. And, I was down there in Florida and watched Game 5 at Emirates Bank Arena there. And, Bella, you look like a veteran out there. You were twinkle tone. You had the river dancing shoes out there. You made a nice couple plays at the blue line in terms of on the power play. It just, you look like a veteran. So I was going to ask you, you talk about getting nervous before, but you didn't look nervous at all. And I guess I got to ask, like, where does that confidence kind of start? Is that self-belief, or is it, you chat with your dad before the game, a longtime coach? Because, fella, if I was rocking the same haircut as you, I don't know if I'd have that type of confidence. Like, you got you got that lettuce rock and you're out there snapping it crispy, it's fun to watch.
Yeah, I honestly think it's just, I don't know, kind of just me being myself. And I'm just I love the game, and just going out there and trying to have fun. I think the more nervous I get, it's almost like the better I play.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I enjoy the big moments, and not many bigger moments in the Stanley Cup playoffs. So
for
it's
sure.
It's gotta help. It's gotta help having Monty as your coach too. Like, I feel like he's a pretty good coach to have with being a young player, first game in the playoffs. Like, he's probably not sticking it to you too hard. He's probably helping you through it. Like, how'd you like Monty throughout the season?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think especially come playoff time, just kind of having a couple of different conversations with him about my role and my impact, and just going out there and, him kind of just letting me know that I'm a big part and I can make a difference for our group. All year, I mean, I loved playing for him, and I learned so much just from conversations with him, and whether it was him getting on me, or I don't know if he was, patting me on the back for a certain play or whatever it was, but definitely just, up and down. But he was right there the whole time, whether good or bad. And I just try and take it in stride.
For sure. And Mace, I wanted to ask you, like, I went through it my first year. I had, I think, one call up, maybe first year pro. I was pretty much down in the jungle the whole time. But I remember just thinking, like, this is a long season here, boys. Like, we just get the playoffs. It's, you're not playing 40 games anymore. It's not just a Friday, Saturday league. You can kind of, you're still getting your work in college, but that work week in college seems so long. You're not playing. So was it a big adjustment? Was there any point of the season, maybe right around the All-Star break, where you kind of just like, you're able to just kind of take a deep breath and be like, oh my God, it's been a lot, but we still got a little bit to go? Or were you able to manage the long season, the grind, especially the American League, playing 3-3s, my friend?
Yeah, I think I don't know. With being up and down so much, there wasn't much. I never really felt like it was super long. Probably not till the end there.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, it's kind of just new stuff every day. Waking up, not knowing if it was your last day up, or if you were getting the call maybe to go up if I was down. But and in terms of those 3-3s down in Prov, to be completely honest with you, I don't know if I played in any of those.
You got to.
They'd always sit me for one of them. I get the workload day.
Shut up! You're getting LeBron James maintenance day. You the load management. Come on, you got long. You got the. You got young legs there.
I know all the guys would be chirping me, but no, it was pretty funny because we'd play like Friday at home, Saturday in Bridgeport, Sunday back at home, and Saturday I just chill at home, sit on the couch, watch the game.
Wow, getting the load management. That's kind of nice. You throw the Normatex on, hit the cold tub, baby. You can watch this game from home. You don't even need to come to the rink. You don't need to come down to the Dunkin' Donuts arena. Stay at home, baby. We'll meet you at the bar. But that's that ain't bad. But one thing, Auzzo, I just forgot to tell this story at the top. How I knew this guy was a beauty. Obviously, he's good buddies with my cousin, so it kind of checks out that way. But I remember getting a text last year, Mace, and I wanted to just confirm this story with you. One of my buddies, actually, Mikey Riley, told me it. So I think you had signed just out of college from Ohio State, and you were in Providence, and I think it was like a Sunday day off or whatever. So, you can do whatever you want. Providence is close to Boston. Some of the Bruins guys, I think they were out and about as well in Boston because they didn't play. So they went to the Fenway Park. They went to a baseball game. It was in the spring, and I think it was after the game. A couple of them were having a couple beers, maybe something to eat. They look across the bar, Auzzo, and who do they see? They see the 6'4" big cream posted up with a girl. And this is like, they didn't even know who this guy was yet. He's already wheeling in town. It's like, what's going on here? Who is this guy? They're like, oh my God, he's a beauty. He's already got a Tinder date ready to go. So that was a funny story. They're like, because I remember Mikey texted me being like, do you know this Lohrei kid? He's from Sauk Prairie. I'm like, yeah, he's one of my cousin's really good buddies, and I think he's a beauty. He's like, okay, that checks out because this is what I have for you. So that's an all-time story, man. That's good shit, right? Day off. Got to get away from the game, baby.
Have to.
that was unreal. That was so good. But Mace, I wanted to get into just in terms of growing up, obviously in Madison, from the same area as I'm from. You're from Sauk Prairie. I would say that's a little hillbilly heroin over there in terms of compared to Verona. But Sauk Prairie, 40 minutes away from where I'm from, and just outside of Madison, Verona. But growing up there, like, were you playing Capitals? Who were you playing for growing up?
Yeah, I mean, so we recently just moved to Sauk Prairie.
Okay.
When I was I think going into my freshman year at Ohio State, and my mom moved. We were actually in Verona.
Okay. I
was right by the Blackhawk Church there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So growing up, I mean, I played Caps for a while, and then I got cut my freshman year of high school. So I went to try out, and I wanted to make the varsity team and just play Middleton High School. And then got cut from them too. So I just ended up playing JV for that year. And then I left town and went to Culver.
Okay, so you played JV, and then you went to Culver your sophomore year?
Yeah.
And then you played Culver sophomore, junior year, and then went to Green Bay senior, and then 1 year out of school?
I went sophomore, junior, senior, Culver, and then Green Bay for 2.
Okay. And were you always like a bigger fella, or was it kind of like a growth spurt that happened a little bit later and you shot up and all of a sudden, you always had the skill, but maybe you're a bigger guy and it kind of just like happened overnight or in a summer, or were you always like a lengthy fella?
I mean, always skinny.
Yeah.
But I think I probably hit my growth spurt like end of sophomore, junior year.
Yep.
Where I was kind of, I don't know, it was probably like 6 inches in 2 years, something like that, 7 inches in 2 years. But yeah, I was playing forward at Culver my freshman year or sophomore year on the U16 team, and I mean,
you can tell you got a little
skill,
forward in you.
Sorry,
you can tell you got a little forward in you.
Oh yeah, I love it.
Yeah, especially that goal you scored against Florida was like, dinking down. That was Bar Mexico almost. But you go to Culver. Did you like your experience there? Because it's obviously, it's a boarding school. It's probably a little bit more strict than where you're used to it in terms of a public school. Like, was it a good time there? Was it a good group of guys? And before you made the transition to Green Bay, were you happy you went there? Because I know we talked before this. You said you're going to be sliding down there to maybe see some of the old teammates or whatnot.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's still some of my best friends to this day or guys that I went to school with there. I mean, when you're 15, 16, 17, going to school and living with all your best buddies, like, you get pretty close. It sucks definitely the first few months you're there, just because you're getting ripped all the time and you're a new cadet, they call you, so you can't even walk straight in the hallways. Like, you got to hug the wall, and it's called you got to square your corners, so you like walk up to the wall and then you have to stay on the wall basically the whole time. It's miserable.
No way.
Yeah. Wake up
on the wall.
Wake up early, go shine the door handles.
Wow.
Cut grass with scissors.
What happens if you're not hugging the wall? They shove you in a locker or something?
Yeah, pretty much.
You have to not that you can grow any, but you got to trim the facial hair and stuff, keep it above. Is it like Lou Lamoriello where they're doing haircut checks and make sure you're
exactly
freshly shaved and maybe even checking the bush? Who knows? Like, is it?
It's like playing for the Islanders.
Yeah, for sure.
No,
go ahead.
No, go.
No, I was just gonna say, like, you spend your time there and you go up to Green Bay. Like, were you heavily recruited, or how did you pick Ohio State? Was it one coach that maybe you had a conversation with? Were you looking at other schools, Mace? Like, because you had a really good first year in Green Bay, and then your second year was unbelievable, where you almost had 20 odd goals or whatever it was, 60 points. Like, that was kind of your coming out party. But were you always, wanting to go to Ohio State, or was it just something that kind of you fell in love with once you visited the campus? Take me through that.
I mean, my dream school growing up was always Wisconsin. And that was, kind of my goal where I wanted to go. I loved it here, still do. But I'd been playing, I switched to defense, and I made national camp, and I think that's where Ohio State saw me. And the beginning of my junior year, I was just talking with, some small schools like out east, and then Ohio State came along, and things moved pretty quick. I got out there for a visit, and they offered me, and I was like, my first visit, my first offer, I was like, why wouldn't I want to go here? This place is sick.
Yeah.
I was like, it's just like Madison, and it ended up working out even better than I think if I would have chose Wisconsin. So I always say that Ohio State turned out to be my dream school, and I'm glad I went there instead anywhere.
Did you ever think about switching back to Wisco after your last year in USHL and realized, going second round NHL, you probably got the pick of the litter? Did you think about it, or were you set on Ohio State?
I was set. Yeah, I was always set. That was, right before the transfer portal stuff all started, but big on the loyalty part, and those guys there were great to me in the whole process, and the fact that they wanted me before anybody else did meant a lot. So I wasn't going anywhere else.
For sure. Yeah, and we had one of your roommates, I believe, on earlier this year to preview a little bit of a college hockey special on Cam Thiesing. And he's a good dude. I think Cameron signed with the Islanders, correct?
He did. He'll be getting that haircut.
Okay, I was going to say, keep it high and tight around the ears, fella, and make sure, bring your own Bic razor to the rink, because you never know with Lou, I remember I got traded to the Islanders. They sent me right down to the jungle, of course. I was in Bridgeport, and the first day I showed up, Chris Lamoriello, his son, Lou's the dad, obviously, is, the assistant GM was Chris, and he was working with Bridgeport at the time, and, he kind of greets me in his Providence, Rhode Island accent. He's like, "Hey, Jordan, it's good to have you here. Like, just get settled in, but can you do me one favor before you get on the ice for practice? Is just shave it off." I'm like, I barely have a 5 o'clock shadow right now, man. Come on. I got the Indian blood me. When I get off the ice, I'm actually going to be hairier than I was going on it. So what are you doing here? But that was always funny, because you have to have the razors in the locker room, right next to the mirror in the shower. They would always have your razors hanging up just in case you had to dust it off. So Cameron will have to get used to that. But Cameron was telling us, were you there, Mace, when you guys, did you have a dog at your place? Did you have an apartment dog, or was that Cam's dog, or do you guys?
Yeah. It was Cam's dog, but we were living together when he got it, so it kind of just became all of our dog.
Yeah, what was this guy? Did he just get the dog strictly to wheel, or we were asking him about it? It's like, dude, we're like, what? You're a college kid and you have a dog. Yeah. I guess you can have the sorority sisters come over and take care of it, but fuck, fella, that's a lot of work.
That was definitely a bonus of it, but no, he's big into hunting. Okay, so I wanted to get a hunting dog. And one day, I don't know, he was just having a bad day, and he calls me. He's like, let's go look at dogs. I was like, all right, sure. We go to Pet Palace, walk in there. There's a golden retriever. I'm like, dude, I don't think you can get a hunting dog at Pet Palace. This is strictly for family homes. He's like, no, we can do it. We can train it. I was like, that's all you, man. So he ends up getting it and training the dog, all year long, ends up sending him to somebody else because he can't get him to do the stuff he wants him to. Dog's gone for 6 months with one of the best trainers in the Midwest. Trainer calls Cam, I don't know, probably beginning of this year. He's like, yeah, I don't know if he's going to do it. So now he's just a house dog.
So he's just a house dog now.
Yeah,
obviously
just loves the boys.
Yeah, you're buying a dog at Pet Palace. You can't teach a dog new tricks, even though it is a new dog. What are we doing here, Cameron? That is hilarious. So will the dog be going with Cameron, you think, out to Bridgie or the greater New York area?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's probably going to leave it at home maybe at first, and then once he gets settled out there, probably once he gets out of the hotel and gets a spot, then he'll take it. But
that is hilarious. Mace, I wanted to kind of get back into this year just in terms of, learning from a lot of veterans. Obviously, a guy like Marchand up front, the captain, Pasta, holy swag fella. But I love, as a fellow defenseman, former defenseman, I love a good, tight D-core. guys in the back end that just get it. Because all the forwards are always barking at each other. They're bitching. You get back there to the DN. You get to the D area in the locker room usually, and it's a bunch of bros just hanging out, kind of just kicking it, shooting the shit. And you had so many good veterans back there in terms of guys like friend of the show, Derek Forbert, even a guy like Kevin Shattenkirk. Is Shatty still running the tunes in the locker room, by the way? Shatty Deuces, is he still DJing?
Yeah, Deuces is on tunes.
Oh, my sticks, fella.
He's our DJ.
Yeah. And just talk about like learning from guys like that, like Forbes and Shatty, and because it makes such a big difference when you have those good veterans that are willing to assist you as a rookie and kind of show you the ropes and, ask you what you did the night before, or maybe, kind of grab you and say, hey, let's go for a beer before dinner or whatever it is on the road and kind of like that. But who are some of those guys or those two guys, what they kind of meant to you and just help you get acclimated in the National League?
Yeah, I mean, everybody on the team, but especially the decor, like, was so great to me coming in as a younger guy and just kind of just being great teammates. I think like obviously Forby's such a beauty, just like shooting the shit with him every day. I talk with Lindholm a lot just about the game and kind of his journey and how he's grown his game. Being able to, play with C-Mac and watch him play, and same thing, just like talk with him. Everyone's just so positive and just great to work with. So, I mean, really special to go in there to that group this year.
Like when you walk in that locker room and say you get called up or it's the first day of training camp, can't you just feel that culture when you walk in there? It's like, okay, this is the black and gold. Like this feels different. Like this feels like a bunch of fucking winners in here. It just, from the outside perspective, it just seems like there's those really good organizations that despite whatever happens in the summer, a couple guys retired, this and that, they just reload and it all starts with that culture. And it looks nails, it's like something you want to be a part of.
Oh, 100%. I mean, from the day you walk, like you said, from the day you walk in, what it's like. I think when I first got called up, I played like 10 games in a row in that stretch. And I remember the first few, it was like, we'd just be in the locker room and no matter what the score was, if we were down, tied up, like who we were playing, you just knew. I don't know. And me, like, I'm in my, whatever it is, fourth NHL game. And I'm just like, we got this. Like, it's in the bag just because of, how it started. I think it starts with Marshy. I mean, he's just so confident and he competes so hard. I mean, I've never seen it from anybody else before. So it starts there and trickles down, and it's, an amazing group to be a part of.
Yeah, were you at that development camp with Malt that one year where Marchie came in and did the bike test like on a random July day, like right after the 4th of July, just to show you boys like,
yeah, he was right next to me.
Did he just shred the bike test too?
Just blowing me out of the water and that. I was kind of pissed at him. I was like, "Who is this guy?"
Yeah, who is this guy? Is he a prospect? What round was he drafted?
What's this guy doing here?
Yeah, it's July, man. You don't have to come and show me up on the air bike.
Yeah, like that. That's just kind of what like Boston Bruins hockey embodies. And I remember Malt telling me that story where you guys, ended up doing that bike test like you do every year at the prospects camp, and Marshy just came in and just set the fucking tone. I'm like, holy fuck! Like some guys are just built different, Mason, in terms of like how nailed you are. Sure. Like, and even just like his quotes after he took that kind of dirty hit from Bennett was like, it was just like such a nail gun quote in terms of it sucks that it happened. If you try to do it or not, I kind of like it because I've done that, to guys before or whatnot. So it's just like a guy like that is.
That's the game.
Yeah. So like that was just so cool to see. But Mace, obviously, you guys wrapped up the season there in Florida, and you didn't go your way. But we got to touch on something a little lighter. I don't know how that clip got released, by the way, but the boys on the Bird heading into Nashville for the year-end bender. So how was the year-end bender with the fellas? Was it pretty much the whole team that showed up, or every guy that could that, didn't have a baby at home crying? Because it looked like a solid crew, fella.
Yeah. It was a whole team. Everybody came.
That's unreal.
I don't know. I mean, some guys had to get permission from the wives.
Right.
Some guys maybe didn't get permission and still came, but it was a blast. It was a lot of fun. I mean, it's pretty cool. I think that's kind of something that I think they've been doing for a while now, is that end of the year trip. And it's just such a tight knit group every year just because of the culture there. And I mean, such a great way to cap it off by they're obviously, you know, didn't end the way you want it to, but still great to go and, you know, spend that time with the fellas.
I just think that's like such a good testament of a good tight team is if you do that year-end trip, despite how the season goes, it's like, okay, guys, like this group right here, it sucks, but it's never going to be exactly the same. There's going to be guys walking from free agency. There's going to be guys retiring, traded, this and that. But like, let's get that one last snap together and go somewhere. That's what all those old school St. Louis teams would do. They do the Vegas trip every year. And I think it's kind of being almost like a lost art in terms of around the league. Like, I don't know if every team is doing it. I think it used to be par for the course. And now it's maybe just more of the old school teams and, you know, this and that. But it's cool to always just like get guys in their different element too, you know, like kind of let loose a little bit. You might not see it every now and then, and it's cool. You experience some ultra egos. But Mace, wanted to get into just your summer plans, my friend. You're going to be in Wisco. Tell the folks what you'll be doing. Are you going on a little bit of a Lohrei, you know, concert tour like stop, hitting all your spots, or are you going back to Boston? Like, what's on tap for Mason Lohrei? I know you're on the fucking sheet already, so you're dedicated to the game and you're ready on the ice, snapping it around. So that's good.
Airing it out here.
There it is. You're airing out the gear, fella.
Airing it out on the porch swing.
There you go.
Kind of bounce around a little bit. Be here at home, training in Madison with Malt.
Yep.
Probably get out on the lake with him, get in the pocket. And then I'll head to Chicago for a bit. My agents have a good setup there with a bunch of guys at that Fifth Third Blackhawks practice rink, I think.
Yep.
So get out there for a couple weeks, and then I'm in Culver, where I went to prep school all of July. So I got a bunch of guys from Ohio State and guys that went to Culver too coming, and we rented a house on the lake. So train there and then get out, play some golf. Same thing. I mean, be on the lake and surf, pickleball, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then I'll head back to Boston beginning of August and, you know, be there for 6 weeks before camp starts and ramp up for the year.
I wanted to ask you, how's the golf game? Are you going to go, first of all, you got to go stop over to Nicky's new shack. He's got Pavelski's place over there on the lake. You're going to have to go check that out. That's where Maltz actually got his boat docked right now, the Mark and Malt. So you're going to have to go check that out. But how's the golf game? You decent? You southpaw like you play hockey, or what's the cap like?
Yeah, southpaw. I'm brutal. Like, I don't play ever. I actually just got clubs this year. Haven't even used them yet. I got home and they're still in the wrappers. But
nice little deal from TaylorMade, huh?
Nice little deal. So I got some pretty nice clubs.
Nationally,
so I think I got to get out there this summer and work on my game a bit.
100%.
100% you do.
Did you guys ever, like, walking around the Garden? Did you guys ever meet any of those Celtics players? And, like, do you think there's guys in the team who are going to a couple of those games in the finals?
We're on such different schedules. Like, I can't say I ever ran into any of them. The only time we saw Tatum, I think we were getting on the plane to go to maybe Florida for games 1 and 2. And I forget who they were playing at the time, but they were also in the playoffs and they had like 2 days in between games. And you look out the window and Tatum's just hopping on the PJ all by himself. Where's that guy going in the middle of a playoff series?
That NBA money.
What a league.
Dennis Rodman going to Vegas for a couple of days. I don't know what he's doing.
I mean, sometimes you need a full body release, right? You never know. You never know where you could be heading. But Mace, I saw you this year. I think it was you at least. You had the splinters out. I'm sure you had the tweezers out. You were on the wood, right? You were sitting courtside.
Yeah.
Was that at the Garden or where was that at?
That was Buck. The Bucks came to town, so
okay, yeah,
I had to get there for that one. That's my team. That was fun. I mean, it's pretty cool. I think they got tickets for us like almost every game. You just kind of got to ask. So
yeah,
didn't want to use it this year, but got to that one, and hopefully in the future I'll.
How nice is it sitting on the wood though? You got the tweezers in the back pocket. You got to stop at CVS before just in case. You never know, right? You might get a splinter, right?
You might get one.
it's just a different vibe down there, isn't it?
Oh, it's unbelievable. So cool.
I don't think there's anything like it in any other sport. Well, there's not, where you can sit literally on the court.
It's because you can hear them too. Like you feel like in the game.
Yeah, I mean, you can hear guys jawing at each other.
Oh yeah.
I think Dame made a bad pass and just ended up in my lap. He zipped that thing too.
You should have hooked it up.
You had the rock?
I had the rock for a second. I thought about pulling a Carmelo.
Yeah, faking them out
on the court.
You should have. Yeah, 100%. Throw that thing up, right? Shoot to get hot, shoot to stay hot, baby. That's hilarious. Yeah, those. I mean, we'll see how they do, right? They're coming in the finals here coming up, but
yep.
What do you think, Mason, in terms of your Stanley Cup final? Like, are you watching this at all right now? Are you getting away from the game? Does it sting that those guys in Florida could be hoisting it? Or are you just like, you know what, fuck it, I'll watch it because it's good puck?
I mean, that definitely stings. But no, I mean, like I said before, like I love the game, and I always try and turn it on whenever, if I'm not doing anything. So I'll watch. I'll definitely watch. I've been watching. I watched the conference finals, but I mean, if it conflicts with the NBA finals, which it probably won't, I'd probably have some ball on instead.
Yeah, you got to get the association on, because that's the real playoffs as far as I like watching. I don't know. I love hockey, but the association is just, it's such a different feel. It's hilarious. It's a goddamn scene. Mace, I wanted to ask you, like, you're starting to skate again here. You're getting your hands going. You're getting the mitts going. Like, what are some things that you're looking to add to your bag as we go into the next season? I think, fella, there's going to be a really good chance you can play inside that top four like you did in the playoffs. I mean, you look so confident, so comfortable. What are some things that you're looking to add? Because, you got to evolve and you got to get better. You got to get a little stronger. But is there a couple things that you're focusing on other than those 10-2 hip cars you had dancing at the blue line? Because those are juicy. Those things don't need any, work.
I think, the biggest thing is strength. And I mean, strength for winning battles or winning races, getting faster. And then obviously, try and get my shot heavier. And then I don't know, I always love, got to keep the skills sharp. So go out there and work on, edge work and skating and, dangling around out there. But yeah, definitely. I mean, the emphasis is on strength and being in the gym, and then obviously working on my shot too on the ice. So that's kind of been the emphasis the last, I don't know, my whole life probably.
Yeah. I mean, you know what they say, right? It's no angle, it's time to dangle. That includes a last man toe drag, last guy back. Sometimes you
I saw that tweet the other day. I loved it.
Hey, that used to be my staple in junior. I would purposely bait the guy in just so I could have everyone in front of me and then just pull the last man toe drag and just make him look like an absolute fool. Sometimes you give up the goal, but I mean, 8 out of 10, that's a pretty good ratio, especially with all the birds sitting there at the Resch Center in Green Bay. It's like, who's towing last man back there? Oh, that's the day's wish. But
they'll check you out on Facebook.
Yeah, exactly. I don't even. Yeah, I think that was the early days of Facebook. You're right, and maybe a Yik Yak app. I don't even know. Some different things floating around out there. Oh, that's hilarious. Do you remember Vine back in the day, Mace? Did you have that like growing up?
Yeah, I had Vine.
Oh man, I was home over Memorial Day there, and we were going through Nick's like old Vines. Like, this guy used to be an absolute idiot. He was like fake working out. He'd have like shaking a protein shake, and the next slide would be him like shirt off doing like 2 push-ups. It was so funny. And then he'd be doing bench press with the toilet paper on like a stick and just be on the ground in the kitchen. It's like, what were we doing, man? Just a bunch of idiots. So
that's not actually how he works out.
That might be, you can't score from the weight room, baby. You can't. I've never seen it done.
Never seen it.
They don't make sticks long enough. I always used to tell boys that you can't score from here, right? I've never seen it. So, Auzzo, you got anything else for Mace?
No, I just wanted to know, like, on your goal, it was probably the goal of the playoffs before McJesus's last goal, game 6 there. But did you see Pasta back door like wide open, or were you straight looking cheddar?
Yeah, I think. I got that puck from up high, so I was looking down at our end.
Yeah,
and I picked it up, and and my first look was at the net, and I saw the opening.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm shooting it. And as I went to shoot it, I noticed that he was backdoor.
Yeah.
And like, it's going so fast through your mind. I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I paused just wide open backdoor, but it goes in, and he was pumped. I was pumped. Knee drop.
Oh, unreal Celly, too. The Celly was the best part.
Knee drop, pumper nickel, looking off a 60 goal scorer, saying, just trust my shot here, fella. I'm like Bob Lee Swagger with this thing.
Or you're back there, don't worry about it.
Yeah, we got back to the locker room, and he's like, you're so lucky you scored.
Fella was in the whole way. Thanks for coming. I'll do the same thing next time. Oh, that's all time. Well, Mace, if you get down to State Street, my friend, which you never know. I don't know if you'll be skating all night or whatever the hell you're doing in Sauk Prairie, but if you do get down to State Street, you got to stop by my bar Mondays and tell the bartender Gart I say hi. He's an old fella. If he hasn't had a jammer yet, I think he's still alive, but stiffest drinks in the league there. They make a 95.5 mixie.
I'll be there. Going there Friday.
Go in there Friday. Get on the dartboard, my friend, and have yourself a goddamn ball. But we appreciate you for stopping by. It was awesome chatting with you. And obviously say what up to Malt. And I'm going to see him fuck tomorrow already. So good chatting with you, brother. I'll send you some butter golf stuff too. So you're going to have to give me an address after this call and we'll get you dialed in.
I appreciate that. I need some new summer wear.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
But it was great. Yeah. Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Folks, that was Mason Lohrei of the Boston Bruins, second round pick, and had a hell of a year in his first campaign.
Woo! Now look who creeping, look who crawling, still balling in the mix. It's that 6'6" long dick slim nigga sticking your chick, pulling tricks.